Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Just let me tell you ahead of time, today I'm going to end the class early. I have a class in ISKCON Philly, so I'll try to end it at 7:30 because by 7:45 I have to jump to the other class. So let's see whatever we can do, as much as we are able to do today. So we are reciting Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 16. And today is Friday. So 2 more days and then we'll learn a new verse. Chapter 15, text 16. Chinmayi Keshvi Mataji, can start.
Hare Krishna, pranams Mataji.
Pranam Mataji, Shri Prabhupada.
द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षराचाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते. Translation: There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
Narsimha Praladeshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dau imam purusham loke, purushau loke, sharashaksharaye bacha, sharaha sarvani bhutani, kutastho sharakuchate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I'll recite Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 16. Dvavimau purushau loke, ksharashchakshara evacha, ksharah sarvani bhutani, kutastokshara uchyate. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. So now we'll read Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, the Atrocities of King Kamsa. And the last 2 verses we saw were that when Kamsa got news that the 8th child is born, very hastily he went to the Sutika Griha, or the maternity home or the prison where Devaki was. And when he came there, what happened? Devaki, Mai, first of all, she she said, yeah, she pleaded with him, right? Remember the uh, Dama, Sama, and Dana. So that's what we read, the last thing. She's the daughter and wife of Kshatriyas. So she was aware of the the art of ruling, let's put it that way, right? The diplomacy that is required when you're ruling. She was aware of that, how to get things done. So she saw there is a dangerous situation. The baby is going to be killed. We also saw that Devaki wanted to protect the baby because she was feeling gratitude that her child is being protected by Yashoda, and now Yashoda's child will be killed in Devaki's hands. So she wanted to save that child, especially even more, right, than her own children. She's really trying to save this baby because it is Yashoda's child. So Devaki Mai, when Kamsa came, she said, "Oh, my dear brother, it's a girl, right? This is a baby girl, and uh, she'll be your daughter-in-law. I'll marry her to your son." But she saw that he was still going to snatch the baby away from her. So then she pleaded that. So what was the Dhamma there? Actually, first the way she started was, you killed so many of my children, my babies, newborn babies, who were as effulgent as fire. Pavakopama, right? Like they were just like fire, as brilliant as, uh, as brilliant as fire. And you just killed all of them, newborn babies. And then what was the next thing? Sama. Sama means negotiation, right? And so she's like, yeah, but it is not your fault. This is my destiny. What can you do? Right? So first is showing him that this is what you did, Dhamma, right? So in English we say the best defense is a good offense, right? So if you want to protect yourself, what should you do? You have to point out the other person's fault, offend the other person, then that person will come down. You show their faults, highlight their faults, you offend them, then your own faults will be hidden, like that, right? The best defense is a good offense, it is said. So like that, she's pointing out. So this is Dhamma. So that's a way of controlling the other person, isn't it? You show the other person that these are all your faults, then they are supposed, they will see, oh, I'm at fault, so they'll become humbled. So Dhamma means what? Making someone subordinate, right? By using your power, you're trying to control them. That's the first thing. So if it's possible, if the problem can be solved by power, then just use power first. But many times power also doesn't work, right? The more you try to power, the more they rebel. Then power is not working. Then you go and you negotiate with them with some good words like, no, you shouldn't do this, and this is going to lead to so many bad consequences. You're a wise person, you shouldn't act this way, that way, all this thing, right? Now, when that also doesn't work, then you give some gifts, give them a good position, or give them so many things so that they'll become quiet and they won't, like that. And when that also doesn't work, then the final thing is dandaniti, right? You just arrest them and you just attack, like that, punishing. So first, Dhamma is not punishing. Dhamma is controlling, like you just, like parents also. Sometimes you see small children, if you want to control them, you just make your eyes big and you just say like, don't do that. That is sufficient for them, right? If they are properly trained, you just look at them like that and they're like, okay. but when they grow up as teenagers, they may not agree to do that. So then you have to change your tactics. So I'm just saying it's a science, how to rule, how to control the subordinates. It's not always power, it is not always punishment also. Punishment is the last thing, right? That's the last thing. Like actually punishing is the last thing. But before that, try to control. If that doesn't work, then have a talk, right? And if that also doesn't work, then give some gifts or something. If you do this, then you'll get that. That also works sometimes. But finally, if nothing is working, then punishment. So that is the science of ruling. So Devaki was aware of that. Of course, here she cannot give punishment to Kamsa, so that's out of question. But she applied the first three. How she applied, we saw. First she said, You have killed my so many young, brilliant children, right? So that is a direct offense. Offense meaning pointing out his fault, how he has done a great wrong. So that will kind of put him down, right? But then he'll get, because he's a proud person, right? That is also said. When you preach to proud people, what will happen? They will become even angrier. They don't take the instruction. When someone is proud, and if you tell them you're doing wrong, it will only make them angrier. Not that they will agree that yes, you're right, what I'm doing is wrong. No, he won't agree. So that's why she's thinking, oh, I said this, Kamsa might become offended that I'm saying that he killed my children. So now she's saying, actually, this is my destiny. What can be done? Having, kind of pacifying the situation, right? It's my destiny. You're not at fault. It would have happened anyway. Even if you didn't kill, some other way they would have died. I was supposed to go through this pain. And finally, Dana. In her case, finally, because she cannot go to Dana. So she said, Dana means now gift, right? Please give me this girl as a gift, right? Let her live. So the idea is, you have killed so many of my kids. It's okay. That's my destiny. At least let me have this girl child. It's a girl. Then she will. Then in spite of that, when he was still, that didn't work on him. We know that kamsa, these things don't work on him. Why? Because those whose senses are not controlled, they 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 don't stay fixed on their even if they have some good intentions for the time being, they don't last long. So he was bent upon killing that child. So he was snatching away. So then Devaki said, no, this is a girl, please don't, oh auspicious one, right? Kalyana, oh auspicious one, don't do anything which will be inauspicious for you. Killing of a girl, of a woman, is forbidden in the scriptures. She does not deserve, a woman does not deserve to be killed like that. So let's see the next verse. Just to save time, I think I'll just okay, it's okay, no problem. It's not so many. Yes, so we finished that one. Next one. Nanvaham te hyavaraja dina hata suta prabho datum arhasi mandaya ange mam charamam prajam. So yeah, Mataji, Chinmay Keshvi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Pranams Mataji.
Yes,
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. My Lord, my brother, I am very poor, being bereft of all my children, but still I am your younger sister, and therefore it would be worthy of you to give me this last child as a gift.
Yeah. Not only did you kill my children, but even, who am I? I'm your younger sister. Right? Earlier we saw a younger sister is like a daughter. A daughter needs to be protected by the father. Not that, her children are slaughtered. No. But anyway, you've killed others, but let this one live. At least this last child. Give this child to me as a gift. Let her live like that. So here in this verse, let's look at the verse. The verse is saying Anga. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is pointing out at the word Anga. Nanvaham tehi avaraja. Nanu, however, aham, te, I am your, aham, te, he, indeed, certainly. Avaraja means younger sister. Agraja means what? Agraja means older. Agraja means a male. Agraja means a female. So Agraja would be elder sister. Avaraja will be younger sister. Okay. So, however, I am your younger sister. Nanu aham te hi avaraja. Dina hata suta prabho. And also Dina, right? I am very poor, in a very helpless condition. Hata Suta, you have killed my sons, right? Someone whose sons have been killed. Hata means killing. Suta means sons. I'm Dina. I'm so poor. Why? Because my sons have been killed. Prabho. Prabho means what? I'm taking shelter of you. You are the master. Oh master. Like that. Oh my lord. Datum arhasi mandaya. Data. Data means the giver, right? Datum arhasi. I deserve or you deserve to give. Okay? Datum arhasi. Datum arhasi. Mandayah. Manda means what? You can say like less intelligent. Mandaya. Okay? So, uh, being so Dina, being so Manda, having lost my sons, I deserve to receive, and being your younger sister. See, all the various things she's saying. Why she deserves the dana, right? She's literally asking for charity. She's begging for charity. Why she is why she is qualified to receive charity from Kamsa? Because she is Avaraja, younger sister. She is Dina. Well, she is a very poor person. Why? Hatasuta, her sons have been killed. So she's in a very humble mood. She's begging, "Oh my Lord, oh Prabhu, Datum arhasi mandaya," right? I am very, less intelligent. Manda. Datum arhasi. For all these reasons, I deserve to get charity from you. Ange mam. Anga means, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Anga means brother here. Okay? Ange mam. So, charamam prajam. Charam. Charam means what? The final, right? You say charam sima, like the last thing. So, charam praja. This is the last child. Praja means uh, your child. Like you say prajapati. Prajapati means one who gives birth to praja. So your praja means children born. So praja, this is the last praja. So, oh my dear brother, please give this last child as a charity to me, because I'm your younger sister, because I'm very poor, helpless, whose sons have been killed, and who therefore, and who's manda, less intelligent, and therefore who deserves to receive charity from you, like this. My lord, my brother, I am very poor, being bereft of all my children, but still I am your younger sister, and therefore it would be worthy of you to give me this last child as a gift. श्रीशुक उवाच उपगुह्यात्मजाम् एवं रुदत्या दीनवत् याचितस्तां विनिर्भर्त्स्य हस्ताद् आचिच्छिदे खलः हस्ताद् आचिच्छिदे खलः. Okay, next. Narsimha Praladeshwar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Shukadev Goswami continued, piteously embracing her daughter and crying, Devaki begged Kamsa for the child, but he was so cruel that he chastised her and forcibly snatched the child from her hands.
Read the purport also, Prabhu.
Although Devaki was crying like a very poor woman, actually she was not poor, and therefore the words used here is Dinavat. She, she had already given birth to Krishna. Therefore, who could have been richer than she? Even the demigods had come to offer prayers to Devaki, but she played the part of a poor, piteously afflicted woman because she wanted to save the daughter of Jashoda. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I'll read also Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport, if there is. So this is text 7. Here, Atmajam Evam means as if the child were her own daughter. Atmajam. Atma means self, Jam means one who is born. So Jam means like daughter. Jam means would be a male and A would be a female. So Atmajam means daughter. So here the word Atmajam Evam signifies that as if the child were her own daughter. She was begging Kamsa as if the child were her own daughter. Since Devaki was aware that it was not her daughter, right? So she was completely aware it's not her daughter. So that is the reason why she's even more concerned that the baby should be saved. See, this is actually Vedic culture. Vedic culture means being a devotee of the Lord is actually part of the Vedic culture. And when you are a godly person, all godly qualities come in you. What is That is why the Vedic society is called the most advanced society. Just look at the quality of the people. What would you think normally in today's world? What would you think? If it is mine, I will try to save it. If it is somebody else's, then I'm not as careful, isn't it? This is materialistic mentality. If it is mine, then I have to protect it nicely. If it belongs to someone else, then it's okay. I'm not so keen about it. Look at Devaki. She is even more. The reason she is pleading and begging is she was aware that it is not her child. And she was begging as if it were her own child, because she knew it was not her child. She could not allow that baby to be killed because it was not her child. I'll just read the remaining of the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. So that is Atmajam Evam, as if the child were her own. Then Dinavat. Dina means very poor. Dinavat means like somebody who's poor. Vat means it's like, as if she is poor, like that. Poor woman. Dinavat. Devaki is described as being like the most miserable person. Dinavat. Instead of being the most miserable, because the child was not actually hers. Threatening Devaki, Kamsa grabbed the child from her hands. So, Dinavat, why Dinavat? So you see two things here. Srila Prabhupada is saying Dinavat means she is the mother of the husband of the goddess of Lakshmi, not one Lakshmi. Krishna is said Chinta Mani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata. Hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis are serving him, not one Lakshmi. This is Krishna's position. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevya Manav. He is served by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis. This is Krishna. And that Lord who is Lakshmi Devi. She is the goddess of fortune. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasa, Shriya, Jnanam, Vairagyam. All these are opulences. Lakshmi Devi means she is the owner of all these opulences. Like she is these opulences and the Lord is the husband of these opulences. He is the possessor of all these opulences. So Lakshmi Devi gives one all these opulences. She is the goddess. It's hers. So she is the goddess of all these opulences. Now, the husband of the goddess of Lakshmi, and not one but hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis who are serving, that person became the child of Devaki. How can you call Devaki a poor woman? How can she be Dina? If she is the mother of Krishna, how she becomes Dina? That is why Dinavat, as if she is poor, but in reality she is not poor. That's what is explained by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. What Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying is that Dinavat, why? Because her child is safe. Her child is not killed. So there is no problem for her child. The child that she is protecting is another child. So actually she is not Dina. Even if Kamsa killed that child, she is not going to become childless because her child is there. But because it is another child and she is trying to protect that child, Dinavat, as if she is Dina, that means, why Dina means what was explained in the previous verse, Hata Sutaha. She's Dina because her sons are killed. So if this son is killed, she'll be completely childless, right? But actually she's not, because her child is already living. Therefore Dinavat. Like that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining. Let's look at the Sanskrit words one more time. Sri Shuka, this only. Upaguhya Atmajam Evam Upaguhya. What is Upaguhya? Embracing. So what is the scene here? Devaki said, please give this girl to me as a gift. Kamsa started snatching. So what do you think Devaki Ma is doing? She's holding on to the baby tightly. She's not allowing him to pull the baby and take away, because she knows once he takes, he's going to. She's seen it before, how brutally he just smashed the newborn baby against a stone and killed the baby. So she's not letting go of the baby. She's holding on tightly, embracing, crying, don't take this baby. So, and while holding on, she's also pleading with him. She's saying so many things. So first she said she will be your daughter-in-law, don't kill. Please give her to me as a gift. A girl is not to be killed. A girl doesn't deserve to be killed. And then, I'm your younger sister. I'm Dina, right? I lost my sons. And I'm Manda. So I deserve your charity. Please let me have at least this last child. Give this child to me as a charity. Let me have at least one last baby. Like that. And while doing this, she's holding on tightly to the baby. Upaguhya means she's embracing tightly. Atmajam, she's holding on to her baby. Atmajam means her child tightly. But why Atmajam? Actually, it is not her baby. Right? She's holding on so tightly, but it is not hers. It is Yashoda Mai's daughter. Rudatya, Rudana means what? Crying. Rudatya, crying. Rudatya, Dinavat, right? She's crying, and she was very helpless. Dinavat, very, very piteously she's crying. But actually Dinavat, because why Dinavat? Because she's going to lose this child and she'll become childless. But two ways it is explained. One way so in both ways she's not actually Dina. That is why Dinavat. Like a helpless person, she's crying piteously. Why like a helpless person? Because in reality she's not helpless. Why she's not helpless? One thing is, because she's the mother of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how she can be Dina, how she can be poor. And the other thing is, her own child is living. So even if this child is killed, she won't be childless, so she won't be Dina. So for both reasons, she's Dinavat. Then Yachitaha, she's begging. Tam, who? Kamsa. Vinirbhartsya. What is Vinirbhartsya? What was he doing while she's begging piteously like this? He was chastising her. He was chastising her, pulling the baby away. Vinirbhartsya. Hastad achichide khalaha. Khala means the bad, most cruel person. Achichide. He snatched away. He separated. Right? Chinda means what? To cut off, right? So he snatched away. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Right? Chinda means what? To cut. So he separated that baby by force from Devaki. He pulled away from the hands of Devaki, who was tightly embracing Upaguhya. She was tightly embracing the baby. He separated the baby from Devaki by force. So Sukadeva Goswami continued piteously embracing her daughter and crying. Devaki begged Kamsa for the child, but he was so cruel that he chastised her and forcibly snatched the child from her hands. Although Devaki was crying, we saw that. Who could have been richer than she? Even the demigods had come to offer prayers, right? Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva are coming and offering prayers to her. So who can be more rich than Devaki. But she played the part of a poor woman. She's actually playing that part. So again, this is to understand not that she's actually pretending or something. We should not understand it like this. It's just like, when the eternal associates of the Lord come and play the part, like Jai Vijay are actually devotees, but they're playing the part of the enemies of Krishna, like a drama. They're putting up a show. Show means while they're putting up the show, unless you really get into that role, that effect is not produced in the audience, what to speak of in the Lord. You have to really get into, right, that abhimana, right? That you are actually that person. You act like that. That's when that emotion will come, that rasa will be produced in that drama. So like that, in reality, Devaki is not poor, she is not Dina, but she's playing the role of a person who is Dina, like that. Srila Prabhupada is explaining. She's playing the role of a person who is poor. Next verse, or maybe just one more verse, and then we'll do Bhagavad Gita. As I said, I'm going to end the class early today. Next. ताम गृहीत्वा चरणयोर जातमात्रां स्वसुहसुताम् अपोथयच्छिला पृष्ठे स्वार्थोन्मूलिता सौहृदः. प्रियंका हरिप्रियमत.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Please accept my obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Having uprooted all relationships with his sister because of intense selfishness, Kamsa, who was sitting on his knees, grasped the newborn child by the legs and tried to dash her against the surface of a stone.
Yeah. Having uprooted all relationships with his sister because of intense selfishness, Kamsa, who was sitting on his knees, grasped the newborn child by the legs and tried to dash her against the surface of a stone. That's what he did with all the other babies. So let's see if there's any commentary here. Srila Prabhupada didn't give a purport. Yeah. Apothayet, smashed. Kamsa threw the child down with great force. So, tam grihitva charanayor, grasping the child. Tam means that baby. Grihitva means taking, grasping. Charanayor, with the feet. He held the child with the feet. Jata matram swasuhu sutam. Jata matram. Like you say, navjat shishu, right? Just born, newborn baby. Jata matram. Swasuhu. Swasuhu means of his own sister. The newborn child of his own sister. Sutam. Suta means son, Suta means daughter. So Swasuhu Sutam means sister's daughter, who was just born. Jata Matram Swasuhu Sutam. How he took that child by the feet, holding the child by the feet. So he already snatched. The previous verse we saw, he snatched the child away from Devaki by force. He separated and he was holding the baby at the feet. Which baby? Who was just born of his sister. Apothayach, right? Apothayat means he smashed, right? With force, he just, like threw the child. Apothayat. Chila prishthe. Shila. Shila means stone. Prishthe, on top, on the surface. So he smashed the child on the surface of a stone. Apothayat Shila Prishthe. Apothayat Shila Prishthe. Swarthon Mulita. Swartha. Why he did this? Swartha. For his own selfish purpose. Unmulita. Unmulita means Unmulanam. Uprooting. Because of intense selfishness. That means, where did this cruelty come from? This cruelty is coming out of his own selfishness. This type of cruelty. A newborn baby of one's younger sister, is snatched away, and by holding the foot, he's smashing the child against the surface of a stone. This type of cruelty is uprooted from his own selfishness. Swartha unmulita sauhridaha. Sauhrida means all friendship. What is uprooted? His sauhrida. Right? Suhrid means a well-wisher. Sauhrida means that feeling, or that good heart which wishes well of one's dear ones, right? Sauhridaha, that friendship, or that feeling of wanting the well-being of others, that was uprooted from his heart. Unmilita. By what? By his selfishness. Swartha unmulita sauhridaha. So, because of uprooting this sauhrida by his swartha, he became so cruel that he smashed or dashed, right, the baby, newborn baby of his younger sister against a stone. Having uprooted all relationships, right? Swartha sauhridaha. Unmilitam, right? This is having uprooted all relationships. Swartha unmulita sauhridaha. With his sister. Because of intense selfishness. Kamsa, who was sitting on his knees, grasped the newborn child by the legs and tried to dash her against the surface of a stone. Apothayat, which is smashed. So we can stop reading Srimad Bhagavatam here, and we'll read Bhagavad Gita. So the last verse we read was Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matparaha. Matparaha. What did we read in Matparaha? That whatever success, whether you are Jnani, Yogi or Bhakta, if you want liberation, unless finally you become Matparaha. Matparaha means you have to do only devotional service. Until then, there's no question of liberation. Even if you want to go and merge into Paramatma, or you want to go into merge into Brahman, or if you want to go back to Godhead and engage in service to the Lord, or you get different types of mukti in Vaikuntha, whatever it is, there has to be finally, in the final stage, there has to be only bhakti, nothing else. Then only that can actually give you liberation. You know why? I'll just quickly tell that point here. Why is it that only bhakti is able to give? You're doing jnana. The other day also we saw the jnana sadhanas. There is Mai Sarvani, Mai Chananya Yogena Bhakti Yogena. Mai Chananya Yogena Bhakti Ravyabhicharini. So Avyabhichari Bhakti has to be done. Because ultimately, when everything else is finished, by that bhakti only you'll get liberation. See, for someone, bondage means you're tied up. For someone to be liberated, to be untied, the other person has to be untied himself. Someone who is tied cannot untie another person. What is this bondage? The bondage is this material conditioned existence, and this material energy is consisting of the three modes: goodness, passion and ignorance. These are ropes. These gunas are called ropes. We are tied by these ropes: goodness, passion and ignorance. You want to be relieved from these three modes. So somebody who is free from these modes only is able to relieve us from these three modes. All the other processes, they can only bring you to the point of goodness. But to transcend even goodness, So what is goodness? Goodness means you can realize that you're not this body, you're a spirit soul. But simply realizing that I'm a spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. Liberation means you have to realize Param Tattvam. Param Tattvam is realized as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. And not just realize, to actually go to that person, right? To transcend. So you can, that realization also actually comes with bhakti only. But because ultimately to actually go, and you can understand with sattva guna, you can understand, understand means when you hear from the scriptures it makes sense, it will make sense to you. But to practically go to get liberation, where you are actually going to ultimately like going to the spiritual world, or merging into the form of the Lord, or merging into Brahmajyoti, you need something which is transcendental to the three modes, and that is bhakti. Jnana only brings you to the point of goodness, which is called vidya. But you have to transcend even that in order to ultimately get the ultimate liberation. So therefore, matpara means somebody who is completely absorbed in me. Even if you want the liberation of the jnanis or yogis, there also, until and unless you come to the point of matpara, you don't get liberation. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. The next verse 262, please repeat. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho vijayate. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. So this is a science, how it is progressing. Lord Krishna is explaining. While contemplating the objects of the senses, that is why in the previous verse, a couple verses previous to this, we saw that even a man of discrimination, that means what is his endeavor? This jnani, when he's practicing his sadhanas, his endeavor is to stop the senses from going to the sense objects, like the tortoise which is holding its legs inside. But the next verse, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya. Rasavarjam, what is that rasa? That means the mind also should be stopped from going to the sense objects. Simply stopping the senses is not sufficient. Even the mind should be stopped from going to the sense objects, is said. And then, because we also saw the next verse, that 60. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Because if you don't do that, if you don't control, and in spite of trying to control the mind also, sometimes it happens the senses are so strong that they pull the mind away. And even a man who is endeavoring to control, he falls down once again. That means these senses are so strong. That's what we saw. But if you surrender to the Lord, Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita mat paraha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. By taking shelter of the Lord, if you are actually controlling, that's what Srila Prabhupada said in the purport. Only by Krishna consciousness you can actually control your senses completely. Mat paraha, that is the ultimate thing. Unless you come to that point, you don't get the final ultimate liberation. For some time you may be able to control, but there's always the risk of falling down. So now, how does this work? How these strong senses, how are they working? Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. Dhyana. Who's contemplating on the sense objects? The mind. So first, the senses come in touch with sense objects. Sense means what? Your eyes, let's say. They come in contact with something beautiful. And you go away. Now that impression is there in the mind. What you have seen, that vritti or that impression, that it's there in the mind, it is formed. Now the mind starts thinking about it. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. Pumsa means this man. Vishayan, the sense object. Vishaya Vastu. Dhyayataha. He's thinking about that. Okay? Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. Sangas Teshu Pajayate. So by that contemplation, the mind is associating with that sense object. Sangha, right? It is association. Associating. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangas Teshu Pajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. By this association, so contemplation. First thing is that impression is formed. Then you sit and you imagine about that. You imagine means you think about that. So let's say there's a nice dress you liked, you saw in the showroom, you passed by, and now you come home and you start thinking about that. And you start imagining that you're wearing that dress and you're going here and you're doing that and so on and so forth. You imagine yourself, right? So that is called contemplating. What is happening by that? Your mind is associating with that sense object. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangas Teshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Now by this contemplation, that little bit of desire has turned into lust, a very strong attachment. Now I have to have it. Right? Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. From this contemplation is born Kama, lust. Now I have to have it. It turns into an obsession. I have to have it. Kamat krodho bhi jayate. Now, when you have such strong attachment, you will do anything to get it. But if you don't get it, then krodha, it turns into anger. You got such a strong attachment. Where did it all start from? Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa. So, later on in the verses it will come, you stop it in the beginning itself. Senses coming into sense objects. You stop it there by regulating your senses. Regulate the senses in the beginning, then after the senses come in touch with sense objects, now you got a taste for that, or right? Now the mind is contemplating on that and then thinking about it again and again, and it's getting attachment, and now you try to get it, and if you don't get it, then you become angry. The next verse we will see how this sense gratification is the cause for the degradation of the soul. Next verse also will come, but this is just an overview I just said. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. Purport. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. What is happening? One who is not Krishna conscious, mind needs some engagement. If you're not Krishna conscious, then he is subjected to material desires. Right? Krishna bhuliya jiv bhoga vancha kore. If you don't think of Krishna, you'll think of bhoga, material desires, how to enjoy. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. So that is the thing. We may not have, love for Krishna and, that taste and ruchi and all attachment for Krishna. We may not have all that. But at least by hearing this, we should develop that faith that if I'm not doing anything in Krishna consciousness, if I'm not engaging my mind and senses in Krishna consciousness, idle mind is devil's workshop. The mind will go for material things. So just keep the mind busy. Like a child, if you keep the child busy with constructive work, he's not left to do other things, right? Mischievous activities. Just keep the child engaged, busy. Like that, this mind is like a mischievous child, like a restless child. So keep the mind busy with Krishna conscious activities, either memorizing or trying to understand the philosophy, or contemplating on the pastimes of Krishna, or how to render service. You're planning, right? Now you are going to dress the deities. What type of dress I'm going to put on tomorrow, what type of jewelry I need, what type of garland I want to make, I have to get this and this. So your mind is busy in devotional service, or you're cooking, right? I need to get these vegetables, which sabjis will I make, what chutney will I make, so on and so forth. So you keep your mind busy in activities of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, the mind will be engaged in the service of materialism. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. So, see, if Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva can be influenced, then who are we? So everyone, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, what to speak of other demigods of heavenly planets, they are all subjected to the influence of sense objects, and the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. So this is the story of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was absorbed in meditation and Parvati ji wanted a child. So she agitated him uh, for sense pleasure and he agreed. So when Haridas Thakur, so this is talking, just giving a comparison between, of course Lord Shiva is a devotee also, but just giving a the point here is that we should try to get the point that is being made by Shastra. Of course, our mind can be exercised in various different directions. Now, some people will say, but Lord Shiva is also a devotee. How you are saying that Lord Shiva got agitated? That is not the point what the Shastra is making here. Lord Shiva is one of the highest authorities in this material world. Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva are good avatars. Even though being in that highest position, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva. So here we are not talking of Lord Shiva as a devotee Lord Shiva. We're talking of a very high position in this material world as a demigod, like that. So somebody who, even a demigod in that position, if he can also be influenced by the modes, what to speak of anyone else? And then giving a parallel, a comparison to a Krishna conscious devotee. Why? Because the whole principle is that first, Achaman, first, the principle is if you are engaged in Krishna consciousness, your mind and your senses are absorbed in Krishna consciousness, you don't leave any room for material engagement. If you are not Krishna conscious, then there is room for material engagement. So Haridas Thakur was constantly Krishna conscious. He was chanting 192 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Keshavaya Nama, Narayana Nama, Madhavaya Nama. So, Haridas Thakur, so comparison. Lord Shiva was approached by Parvati and he obliged. Haridas Thakur was approached by Maya Devi herself. Maya Devi personified the whole Bahiranga Shakti. Maya Devi, not just one small person of this. The whole material energy in the form of a beautiful woman comes to Haridas Thakur in the middle of the night. Or you can say, yes, Parvati Devi is also the same, right? Bahiranga Shakti. But how Haridas Thakur was protected, that's the point Srila Prabhupada is making in the purport. So, if the senses are Krishna conscious, if the mind is Krishna conscious, then you can be protected. That point is being made here. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal, and as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi, the same personality. But Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment. So this was said in the previous verse we saw. Yamunacharya is saying that now after taking to Krishna consciousness and after relishing the mellows of bhakti, when I think of sense pleasure, it seems to be so insignificant that I just spit at the thought, right? Even it's not attractive anymore. Not that I'm trying to keep myself away from sense gratification. It's not even attractive. I feel like spitting at the thought. How he got that? Because param drishtva nivartate. You're getting higher taste from bhakti. So, as illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful, see, that's why Lord Shiva's example is given. Here, don't take Lord Shiva as a devotee, take him as a demigod, the highest demigod, like that. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. Yes, yes. Yes. Water. Like that. Okay. Uh, I'll just see. I mean, we're out of time already, but I want to quickly see what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says about this verse. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते. So obviously here we are talking about Jivan Muktaha, right? So Sthita Pragya, one who is liberated, that's the person we are talking about here. So Jivan Mukta, he is able to control his senses because his mind is controlled. So this is talking about, so I told you before also, right? Although these verses from 55 onwards Krishna begins to speak, so he is talking about the qualities of Sthita Pragya, but we will talk about other stages in Jnana Marga also. So this is obviously not for Sthita Pragya, that he's getting lust and he's thinking about, his mind is already controlled. So this is not related to that final stage, Sthita Pragya, we are not talking about him. So this is talking about that stage of Jnana where the mind is not yet controlled. Yeah, there's a yogurt box, you can put it in. Or just keep it there for me. Keep it somewhere, yeah. So, so this is talking about that person who has not yet controlled his mind. Okay, he's still trying to control his mind. So Jnana sadhanas he will be practicing, controlling his mind about it. Externally, so even in Ashtanga Yoga also, right? What is in Ashtanga? In Jnana also they can follow Ashtanga Yoga process. So they control the senses and they control the mind. So externally, someone controls the senses, but if the mind is thinking, that means he still has taste. That we saw in Vishaya Vinivartante. Niraharasya dehina. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. But what if his mind is not controlled? Senses are controlled, but mind is still thinking, contemplating on sense objects. Then the result is you will be attached. This is what will happen. So the suggestion is not only control your senses, control your mind also. If you neglect to control your mind, if you simply control your senses, this is what will happen. Purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. We saw, right? So the result is you will become attachment. Kamaha will come. Kama. And that kama will turn to krodha. That's the point here. Okay? So I don't know. Let's read Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. I always say I will stop at 7:30, but I go over. Srila Prabhupada's Leela Amrita. Oh, we didn't read. So this is the August of 1966, summertime. Prabhupada is still feeling good because it's like in Vrindavan, hot weather. He goes on uh, with his translations of Srimad Bhagavatam, and at the same time, the boys that are coming to him, some of them have been chanting Hare Krishna for 1 month. He sees this movement, this Krishna consciousness movement, like his small baby, and like he's the mother, right? Nourishing and nursing and uh, nurturing them and raising them like that. So, and also appreciation of these people who didn't even know who Hanumanji was. They thought he was a cat or something. What to speak of having following Brahminical rules as far as cleanliness and things like that. They didn't have all that, but one thing was they had faith in Srila Prabhupada. They liked to hear from him and they accepted him as their leader, right? And just because of that, whatever, see how they came and they decorated the storefront, they wanted to render. So that desire to serve Krishna is born. So Prabhupada is really appreciating that in them, right? That even in these hearts, right, people who are addicted to intoxication, illicit sex and gambling, meat eating, even in their hearts, this seed of bhakti is gradually sprouting. Seeing this, Srila Prabhupada is appreciating Krishna's mercy so much. Although he was engaging the boys in cooking and typing, Prabhupada was not doing any less himself. Oh, one more point. There we saw that Srila Rupa Goswami writes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, somehow or other, one should be engaged in Krishna consciousness one way or the other. Then that will actually cleanse all the other unwanted things, one way or the other. Right? It's not that first you become clean and then you will start. In bhakti, it doesn't work like that. In jnana, that is the requirement. In bhakti, there's no need. Bhakti itself will start cleaning. Right? So, of course, the principle is there that simultaneously you should not be committing sinful activities. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante man drida. If you want that drida determination to do bhajan, then you have to stop sinful activities. But by doing that bhajan itself is also going to clean you. But the thing is, you will not get the determination to do bhajan if you don't stop sinful activities. That's why hand in hand. You should not stop bhajan, and also you should give all the help by stopping to do sinful activities. Simultaneously, you're doing sinful activities, and also bhajan means you're trying to light a fire by pouring water on it. It will not happen. That's the point. Huh? Can't hear. Oh, it's not the tap. So although he was engaging the boys in cooking and typing, Prabhupada was not doing any less himself. He himself was also doing. He is not simply taking service from them, he is also doing. Rather, for every sincere soul who came forward to ask for service, 100 came who wanted not to serve but to challenge. It's not that everyone who came was very obediently serving Srila Prabhupada. It's not like that. For one person who came to do some service, 100 people came to challenge him. What is this? Why you are doing, criticizing like that? Speaking to them, sometimes shouting and pounding his fists, Prabhupada defended Krishna against the Mayavad philosophy. This, we only see the nice part. How much pain goes into convincing one person to Krishna consciousness, right? This was also his service to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He had not come to America to retire. So with the passing of each new day, came yet another confirmation that his work and his followers and his challengers would only increase, right? More followers means more work, more challenge also. I mean followers, but for each follower, if you're getting 100 people who are, actually, that means there's more and more responsibility coming. How much he could do was up to Krishna. I am an old man, he said. I may go away at any moment, but if he were to go away now, certainly Krishna consciousness would also go away. Just beginning stages, right? Because the Krishna consciousness society was nothing but him at that stage. It was only Srila Prabhupada. His figure leading the chanting while his head moved back and forth in small motions of ecstasy, his figure walking in and out of the temple through the courtyard or into the apartment, his person sitting down smilingly to discuss philosophy by the hour. He was the sole bearer and maintainer of the small, fragile, controlled atmosphere of Krishna consciousness on New York's Lower East Side. So, with that, we come to the end of the chapter, and also we come to the end of today's session. Thank you all so much, dear devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Now I'll jump to the other session.